This is the rung that feels like you finally made it. A good job, a decent title, a life that mostly works. You can cover the bills, take the trip, say yes to the dinner without doing math at the table. And that feeling, that warm sense of arrival, is the exact thing that quietly stops most people from ever climbing higher. Comfortable is not a bad place. It might be the nicest place on the whole ladder. But it is also the single most seductive trap on it, and almost nobody notices the handcuffs because they are made of comfort, not chains. Let me show you the rung you are actually standing on. Here is the plan for the next few minutes. First, I will place you exactly where comfortable sits on the salary ladder and give you the two honest numbers, the sticker salary everyone quotes, and the smaller one that actually lands in your account. Then I will hand you 6 unlocks, 6 things that become true right here on this rung, and that decide whether you climb or settle. 1. Comfortable is the most seductive rung there is. 2. This is where the tax bite finally gets real. 3. The golden handcuffs snap shut. 4. Your lifestyle quietly swells to swallow every dollar. 5. This is where you turn income into assets or never do. And 6. Comfortable is a plateau you choose to stay on. Then I will give you the concrete recipe to climb off this rung and reach for 6 figures. Let us find your rung. Picture your whole earning life as a tall ladder, one rung at a time. The floor is where everyone starts. The median is the crowded middle where half the country stops. And above it sits the rung we are on today. Comfortable, somewhere around $60,000 to $100,000 a year, by one popular national earnings survey, rounded. On the ladder of earners, that puts you in the top third, climbing toward the top quarter. You are higher than most people you grew up with, higher than the median rung where half the country stops. You have real breathing room for the first time, money left over after the essentials, choices you didn't used to have. But look up. There is a lot of ladder still above your head. Comfortable is a genuine achievement, and it is nowhere near the top. That is the tension of this entire rung. High enough to feel done, low enough that you are not remotely free. Now the 2 numbers, and they always come as a pair. Say your offer letter reads $85,000. That is the sticker salary, the gross, the number you tell people, the one that felt like a rival. But that is not the number that shows up in your account. After income tax, payroll tax, health premiums, and whatever you tuck into retirement, the real take-home is closer to $63,000. Look at that gap. Over $20,000 that you earned and never touched. On the lower rungs, that gap was small. Here, for the first time, it is a serious chunk of your pay, because the tax bite grows as you climb. 85 on paper, 63 in hand. Comfortable, yes, but nowhere near wealthy, and the gap between those 2 words is the whole story of this rung. Unlock 1. Comfortable is the most seductive rung on the entire ladder, enough to feel successful, not nearly enough to be free. And I want to be careful here, because this is not a lecture about how you should want more. It is about noticing a very specific trap. On the lower rungs, what stops people from climbing is struggle. You are too busy surviving to plan. But here, on this rung, the thing that stalls people is the opposite. It is not struggle. It is comfort. You have enough that the pain is gone. The bills are handled. The fridge is full. The weekend is yours. And the sharp hunger that pushed you up the last 2 rungs quietly fades out. Nothing is on fire, so nothing forces you to move. And that is exactly why so many people spend 20 years right here without climbing another inch. Not because they hit a ceiling they couldn't break, but because the discomfort that used to drive them simply switched off. Struggle has an alarm bell. Comfort is silent. It does not announce itself as a trap. It feels like a reward, like the finish line you were promised. And the day it stops feeling like a rest stop and starts feeling like an address, the place you just live now, is the day the climb ends, without you ever deciding it should. Unlock 2. This is the rung where the tax bite finally gets real, and where it starts playing tricks on your head. On the lower rungs, taxes were almost an afterthought. Here, for the first time, you watch a visible chunk of every raise vanish before it reaches you, and it can genuinely spook you. So let me untangle the one thing that confuses almost everyone, the difference between your marginal rate and your effective rate. Your effective rate is the average, total tax divided by total income, the real percentage you actually pay across everything you earn. Your marginal rate is the rate on your next dollar, the very top slice. And here is the trick. A raise gets taxed at that top marginal rate, not your gentle average. So when you get a $2,000 raise and only see, say, $1,400 of it, it feels like the tax on your whole life just jumped. It didn't. Only that last slice got taxed high. Everything underneath it is still taxed exactly as before. This confusion is genuinely expensive because it whispers a lie. That raises aren't worth it. That climbing barely pays after tax, so why bother reaching? That is false. A raise taxed at the top rate is still a raise. You keep most of every extra dollar every single time. Losing a slice of more is not the same as getting less. And notice what the lie is really doing. It is handing you permission to stop climbing and calling it math. It feels sophisticated, like you've seen through the game, when really you've just talked yourself into staying comfortable. Never let the tax bite talk you out of the climb. A smaller piece of a bigger number still beats staying put, and it always will. Unlock 3, and this is the one the whole rung is named for. The golden handcuffs. Somewhere on this rung, a strange thing happens. The very good things about your job quietly become the bars of a cage. The title you earned, the benefits you rely on, the seniority you built, the boss who knows you, the vacation days that took years to accrue, the comfortable rhythm of knowing exactly how Tuesday goes. Each of those is a real reward, and together they make you afraid to move. Because moving means giving some of it up. Starting over on the seniority clock, proving yourself to strangers, trading a known comfort for an unknown risk. So you stay. And staying feels safe, feels responsible, feels like the mature choice. But here is what the handcuffs hide from you. Staying put quietly caps your ceiling. The biggest jumps in pay on this ladder almost never come from waiting inside one company for the annual bump. They come from the scary move, the switch, the reach. The longer you sit still to protect what you have, the more you seal yourself onto this exact rung. That is the cruel design of golden handcuffs. They are not made of chains you can see and resent. They are made of comfort you actually enjoy. Nobody locks them onto you. You put them on yourself, one nice thing at a time, and then you forget you are wearing them. Unlock 4. On this rung, your lifestyle quietly grows to swallow the entire income. This is the 90,000 a year and still living paycheck to paycheck paradox, and it sounds impossible from the outside. How can someone earning good money still feel broke at the end of every month? Here is how. As your income climbed rung by rung, your spending climbed right alongside it, step for step, so smoothly you never noticed. The bigger apartment, the nicer car with the payment attached, the upgraded phone, the delivery habit, the subscriptions, the I earned this purchases that each felt small and reasonable in the moment. None of it was reckless. Each upgrade was affordable on the new salary. That was the whole trap. The problem is the pattern. Every time the income rose, the lifestyle rose to meet it exactly, so the gap between what you earn and what you spend, the surplus, the only thing that ever builds wealth, never actually appeared. You are earning 3 times what you did on the floor and saving roughly the same nothing because the machine underneath simply scaled up with you. This is why a raise can feel like it changed nothing. The money arrived and the lifestyle was already waiting with its hand out. The dangerous part is how invisible it stays. No single upgrade ever felt like the mistake, so there is no obvious moment to point at and fix. It is death by 100 reasonable yeses. Comfortable income with zero surplus is not wealth. It is a bigger treadmill running at a faster speed, and you are still exactly where you started, just more expensively. Unlock 5. And this is the pivot the entire series turns on. This rung is where you convert income into assets, or you never do. Up until now, everything has been about the paycheck, earning more, keeping more, climbing. But a paycheck, no matter how comfortable, has a hard ceiling, and it stops the day you do. The people who actually get wealthy do something different right around here. They stop letting the income just flow through them into consumption, and they start routing it into things they own. That is the difference between earning and owning, and it is the most important sentence in this whole series. An asset is anything that keeps working after you stop. Shares of the broad market bought steadily over years, a stake in a business, equity in something that grows while you sleep. Your comfortable income is the fuel, but fuel that only ever gets burned on lifestyle produces heat and nothing else. A nice life, and at the end of it, still just a paycheck. Fuel routed into assets builds an engine that eventually pays you without your labor attached. Most people on this rung never make the switch. They earn well for 30 years, spend it all beautifully, and own almost nothing at the end, because no one ever told them the comfortable income was supposed to buy ownership, not just experiences. This is the fork, right here. Income in. And it either becomes assets you keep or memories you rented. Both are fine to want, and you do not have to choose one and starve the other. But you do have to send at least some of that comfortable income across the line into ownership deliberately, or the years quietly pass and the switch never gets flipped. Only one side of that fork keeps paying you after the paychecks stop. Unlock 6, and it ties the rung together. Comfortable is a plateau, and staying on it is a choice, even when it never feels like one. Nobody gets stuck here by accident, the way you can genuinely get stuck at the floor by circumstances outside your control. Here, you have options. You have skills that transfer, income that gives you room to take a risk, a track record that opens doors. The thing that keeps you on this rung is not a locked gate. It is the simple, human, completely understandable preference for the comfort you already have over the discomfort that climbing requires. Because here is the hard truth about the next rung up. Reaching it means volunteering to be uncomfortable again when you do not strictly have to, taking the harder role, making the scary move, betting on yourself when the safe paycheck is right there. On the lower rungs, life forced discomfort on you. On this rung, you have to choose it. Deliberately trade a comfort you have earned for a struggle you don't need, on the belief that the struggle leads somewhere higher. Most people, understandably, decline, and that is a completely valid choice. Comfortable is a genuinely good place to spend a life. But be honest that it is a choice. You are not stuck here. You are choosing here. And the moment you see it as a decision instead of a ceiling, you get to actually make it, on purpose, with your eyes open. So how do you actually climb off comfortable and reach for 6 figures? The recipe is uncomfortable on purpose, but every step is doable, starting now. First, automatically bank every raise into assets before your lifestyle can claim it. The next time your pay goes up, root the entire difference into investing the day it hits, before your spending even learns the money exists. You were living fine yesterday, so let your future self keep the raise. Second, take the scary move instead of coasting. The lateral jump, the stretch roll, the switch you have been talking yourself out of. That is where the real pay jumps live, not in another year of loyal waiting. Third, build a rare skill combination that few of your peers have. You do not need to be the best in the world at one thing. You need 2 or 3 skills that are uncommon together, because that combination is what makes you hard to replace and expensive to hire. Fourth, start a real ownership stake. Broad index investing at serious scale, equity in where you work, or a genuine side venture. Something you own, not just something that pays you. And fifth, reframe comfort itself. It is the fuel for the climb, not the finish line. Do these 5 things and you will climb off this rung, not because you got lucky, but because you refuse to mistake a comfortable rest stop for the top of the ladder. The people who stall here aren't less capable than you. They just decided comfortable was enough. You get to decide its fuel. So tell me in the comments, are you sitting comfortable right now, feeling the pull to settle, or feeling the itch to climb? Wherever you are, naming the handcuffs is the first step to taking them off. This is education, not financial or career advice, just the ladder laid out honestly. Next time, we climb to rung 4. 6 figures, the number everyone chases, and the one that disappoints the most people the day they finally hit it. I will see you there.